Hey class, grab a sheet of paper and a pen while we get started here on week 2 material. This week, we are going to start diving into those teams and get started on the first section of the business canvas that you guys read about this week, which is customer segments. But once you get that sheet of paper and pen, we're going to do a little exercise to see what you guys are. It's a little self-assessment. So hopefully you have that sheet of pen or paper. If not, put this on pause and run and grab one. What I want you to do on your sheet of paper is to draw a pig, like the little pigs on a farm. So just draw a pig. And pause this video while you draw your pig. So we're going to do a little pig analysis. We're going to analyze what that pig tells you about yourself. Okay, write down these characteristics that come up for you and what really connects with you. You'll need it for an assignment that we're going to do later. But this pig analysis is going to reveal some things about you related to management. I know it sounds funny, like, why is she having us draw a pig? I did this activity in one of my professional development days, and it was just bewildering to see what this pig really said about different people, including myself. It was shocking on how accurate it actually was. So if your pig is drawn towards the top of your paper, you tend to be very positive and optimistic. And this is great for management because you're looking towards the future. You're positive, you're optimistic. You see the good in people. You see the positive in the situations. Even if something goes bad, you find the positive in what you can learn from those opportunities that we learn from. Okay, so jot that down. If yours was towards the top of your paper, you're positive and optimistic. If your pig's drawn towards the middle section of your paper, you tend to be more of a realist, which is good too for management because you're seeing the real, the what's happening right now. You see the real picture. You can bring to light all the different aspects of what is happening right now in reality. It's not pie in the sky things or pessimistic things, but it's the realist. You're seeing the reality, the real situations that are happening as they occur. So if your pig is drawn towards the bottom of the paper, you tend to be a pessimist or pessimistic. You tend to view things negatively without that positive spin. So throughout this whole analysis, this is the one area that you should work on. You don't want to be a pessimist and look at that negativity that is around. So these are areas that you're going to want to self-improve on. Look for those podcasts. Look at that growth mindset and how you can learn from the negativity that you're seeing. What is the positive aspect of those? How do you grow to get out of this mindset and not have that pessimistic view? Because that will hurt you, not only in learning, but also in your career as you move forward. If your pig is drawn facing right, you have a tendency to be innovative. You're also a very active individual. You may forget dates easily, and you might not have a strong sense of family. So both right and left are great for different reasons within management, and each has their own place. These are both skills that you need to have a well-rounded management team, and they usually complement one another to have the two different aspects. Now, if you're like me, your pig is drawn facing front. You tend to be very direct. You'll probably see throughout the semester in my feedback, I tend to be very direct. I try to view both sides, the left and the right, but I have a tendency to be very direct and to the point, like this is what you did great, and this is the area you need to work on. They enjoy playing devil's advocate, so they like to see both sides of a situation, the good and the bad when looking at different things. This can be great in management because sometimes confrontation needs to happen. Um, when you have performance appraisals or there's things that don't go well in a workplace and you need to confront those employees that need to develop some skills, this can be a great person to have on the team because they tend to be direct and to the point and they're not going to avoid it, um, which can be great. It can also be bad too because they might want to be confrontational, which is not always good either. So you have to know that right balance point. Now, if you drew a lot of details on your pig, maybe you have a squiggly tail or ears and the nose and a little glasses like this picture, you have a tendency to be very analytical. You're also cautious and you can have issues with trust. So, analytical is great from a management perspective because you need the person that can be the number cruncher, analyze all those little details. Cautious can be great in management as well. You don't always just want to jump in. Sometimes you really need to look at the many different issues, the good and the bad that are occurring in a place, and cautiously navigate those different areas. COVID-19 is a great idea of being cautious. Like, do we open our store? Do we not open our store? How do we adjust to a COVID safe environment and atmosphere? Those are things we have to be cautious with, and they continue to change and what that looks like for different types of businesses. And as we learn more, that if your pig is drawn with very few details, you have a tendency to be more emotional. You tend to focus on the big picture. You're a risk taker. You like to take those risks. You tend to be impulsive. All of these can be great as well for managers. You want people that can show emotion on your team. You also want people that can see the big picture. So when you're looking at the canvas this term, the big picture, how do all of these 9 different sections go together? A risk taker is also great for having on your team when they're analyzing different parts of the business and how it might impact another, but yet they're willing to take that risk to see how it will have an impact. They also tend to be impulsive, so they'll be quick to judge, or quick to take that. Oh, let's just try it and see how it works. If it doesn't work, we'll go back and we'll redo this. We'll see how it impacts the big picture as we work through it, type of situation. If your pig is drawn with fewer than 4 legs, you may be living through a period of change. You may also be prone to insecurities. I wouldn't be surprised if many of you showed less than 4 legs right now, just given everything that's going on related to COVID-19 and college changing and just the way everything's being delivered in this ever changing world and how you've adapted to those situations. If your pig is drawn with all 4 legs, you tend to be more secure. You may also stick with your ideals, and some may even call you stubborn. If your pig is drawn with large ears, the bigger the ears, the better the listener. So if you have really giant ears on your pig, you're a better listener. This is one area that we all tend to have growth needed because we can always continue to be better listeners and really listening to what people are saying. The length of the tail. So if your pig is drawn with a fairly long tail, the longer the tail, the more intelligent you are. So just a refresher on assignments. This last week you did some readings. You also did those flip grids. Those flip grids are there so that you can go out into that flip grid and see those introductions of your classmates. Remember who they are, get to know them. You have the video, the face to put to that name, which helps you to better engage in the classroom. This week, I want you guys to do an email assignment. So now that you've completed your pigs, I want you to send me what you learned about yourself related to your pig and how that relates to maybe your college career or your career goals after college. So, what does that tell you about maybe your management style? What does that tell you about areas that you might want to work on? What are you really good at? So, I want you to just send me an email and craft it in a professional format so that we can continue to work on professional emails. But this also makes sure that your guys' email is working. I usually do this in week 1, but instead we're going to do it in week 2. I got several emails from you guys, but some of you I haven't heard from yet, and I know you might have questions. So I want you to send me that email this week to make sure that we have emails working. You guys are getting them as I am also getting them from you, and so forth. So that is a summary of the week 1 assignments, what I'm having you start this week, and then we're going to talk about the group work as we continue on here. So in week 2, what we are going to cover is customer segmentation and how do you segment your customers for the business that you're following. So each team will be following a business, and as part of your group work, you're going to decide on which specific business are you going to follow for your canvas related to the industry that you guys did. So you guys all submitted your first and second preferences, and from there I assigned you teams based on preferences. Now you guys want to find a small business, ideally one that you're quite familiar with, that you can utilize for this project and explore as we put together this canvas. So you're going to use a company that is currently in existence. And you're going to look at customer segmentation this week. And what does customer segmentation look like? So there's a few different things when it comes to customer segmentation. It's really dividing those customers into groups based on a few different characteristics. So demographics is one of those areas you've probably heard a lot about the program. So age, gender, religion, race, family size, education level, those would all be demographics. Then you have behavioral. Those are the spending habits. How much money do they spend and where? Where do we get that information? So Data Source Premier is one of the library resources on our LibGuide that we can use to look at some of those behavioral spendings of consumers. You can actually look up by locations, which then gets into geography. So where do the clients live and work? If you're looking at a local lacrosse business, let's say a coffee shop, more than likely those clients live or work, maybe both, in lacrosse, probably within so many miles of the coffee shop that they are stopping at. And then you have psychographics. That's your social class, lifestyle, personality characteristics that you're looking at when it comes to customer segment. So why do we look at customer segmentation, and why do we divide our customers into different groups? One of the main reasons why we do that is because all customers are different. We want to recognize that if we clump them into smaller groups, we can target our advertising, our marketing efforts towards that group. We can also look at their needs and wants and hit on that group's needs and wants based on the characteristics that join them all together. The companies also get a deeper understanding of who that customer is. What do they prefer? Some of you college students, depending on different characteristics, prefer an online class versus a virtual meeting class versus a face-to-face class. And how do companies dive deeper into that? Well, they segment them by different characteristics to recognize that those smaller groups tend to share similar thoughts, beliefs, or other characteristics, like I highlighted in the previous one, that align to delivering a certain product or service a certain way. So that's a very vital part of a business, and making sure that they are meeting those customer needs. So how do we decide this? How do we decide what data we'll collect and how it will be generated? How do we collect this data? What are some of the sources that we use? How do you develop methods for analyzing and segmenting this different information. How do we implement the application to effectively deal with the data and respond to the information that that data provides? So some of the ways we look at this is we look at data related to the U.S. Census Bureau. That can provide us with a great deal of knowledge. We can also look at traffic counts for an area for a business. And we really break that data down to see how many customers fall into that segment, and then what are their preferences, what are the characteristics of that group, and how does that relate to the research that is out there that states these customers have these preferences based on secondary data that's been collected from surveys. You can also do primary data collection and collect that information from primary surveys, questionnaires, asking the questions through interviews, those. So when it comes to customer segmentation and maximizing that intel, we can target specific groups to really maximize the upselling opportunities. Think of when you're utilizing online and pop-ups come at you based on what you've searched. This is a type of customer segmentation. They know based on different characteristics that these are items that will interest you based on your search history. Customer segmentation, it's targeting specific groups to maximize upselling opportunities. You can send personalized messages based on the customer's known needs and wants. Customers, when they're shopping, will purchase certain items. And when you're at Walgreens, for example, coupons print out based on what you've purchased to incentivize you to purchase more of that item because they know you're already doing it. Other companies have loyalty cards that work the same way, and they send you coupons or text messages when those items go on sale so that they can specifically target you. Which sounds horrible, but actually it's a really great business strategy because it improves your customer service, the loyalty of your customers to the business, as well as your retention. It costs money from a marketing standpoint to market to customers and get them in your door. And once you get them there, it's a lot easier to keep them and retain them if you use some of these strategies related to customer segmentation. And it also saves your company money in the long term because it's easier to, or it's less expensive to maintain or retain that customer than it is to try and recruit a new customer into your store. You also need to stay one step ahead of your competition by listening to your customers' needs and actually listening to what they're saying and identifying those new products. Improving the current products based on their needs and wants. We've seen a lot of this occur during COVID because of restrictions, but also because of the ways people are changing in the way that we're doing business, the way that consumers want their products. Curbside pickup is huge. It's been popular for years, but now everybody wants that curbside pickup or that option to shop online, get it sent to your house, get it delivered, those different things. So those are changing and shifting business mechanisms that will likely continue forward, but we'll have to really listen to those customer segments as to what their needs and wants are. Customer segmentation also maximizes the dollar. So customer segmentation is based on profit potential, determining the potential of dollars that you can get from that customer shopping or utilizing those services. You're looking at the potential revenue versus expenses. Is it worth targeting that specific customer segment? Are they going to be a profitable area for you? You don't want to target a consumer that's not interested in your business or they don't have enough spending power potentially. You want to make sure that you're getting your product or service to the customers that want them and focusing on those customers. Not every store can please every customer, but you need to focus on those that maximize. And then how hard do you have to work to also stay with that group? Do you foster that further relationship? Do you not? Where do you look at it and how do you prioritize that profit potential? Your week 2 assignments are listed at the top of your weekly folder. So you'll want to go through that checklist. I did change the format of the checklist a little bit for this week based on some student feedback to hopefully help you navigate a little easier what's expected for each week. Just a reminder for due dates, if we have discussion boards, they have 2. So you need to complete those by Monday and then reply to your classmates by Wednesday at 6 p.m. for both of those dates. This week you have some teamwork that you're going to start. So I have some dates that you should be working with your teams and completing stuff by so that you guys can effectively complete your teamwork as we begin this first parts of our 9 sections of the entrepreneurship canvas and as you're working together. So really take this week to get to know your teammates, get to learn more about each other. You might want to pull your pigs out that I had you draw, and just see who your team is made of and how you work together. Okay? Really establish that getting to know one another this week. It might take a little bit more time, but that's going to help you going forward in the future weeks as we continue to work in these teams and work on this project in the Canvas this term. So if you guys have any questions this week as you continue to work, please reach out to me and let me know. I am more than happy to set up a meeting with you. I also have those weekly office hours posted for Tuesdays. If those times don't work for you, just let me know. I met with several of you this week on Tuesday when you hopped in there for that hour, but I also met with a few of you later in the evening when you were available. So I am more than willing to help you guys work around those schedules. I just need you to reach out to me if you need some of that help so that I can help you and answer those questions as you become familiar with a new class, learn some new concepts, and really prepare for being successful in this class. Have a great week, and again, just reach out.